Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you how to set up smart campaigns with Plezi. If you're like me, you want to know how to automate your marketing. Smart campaigns are one of my favorite features of Plezi, and in this video I'm going to show you step by step how to create smart campaigns. If this is the first time you're watching me on my channel, I'm Wasim Bashir and I run a digital marketing agency, and also I'm a co-founder of a SaaS business. On this channel, I share my experiences with various marketing tools, lead generation techniques, and a lot more. This video is the second part of the Plezi series, and if you're new to Plezi, I would recommend watching the first video to learn how to set up Plezi. Now, let's look at smart campaigns in Plezi. So, what is Plezi? Plezi is a marketing automation tool which you can use across your full marketing funnel. What does that mean? So from a 30,000 feet view, you can understand you have to obviously first acquire visitors and then try to convert them on your website. And finally, you can engage with them through nurturing. So Plezi works in all these three areas, and you can create content, allow Plezi to actually create content dynamically for you, or you could possibly use it as a content catalog and add your content, and Plezi does all the heavy lifting. So my favorite features, to be honest, are content management. So you can actually tag everything in one place, and all your blog posts, let's say PDFs, lead magnets, you can add them in Plezi, tag them and use them for the right channel. And also then I really like the smart forms because they're really good and easy to create. You can create progressive forms in it. And finally, smart campaigns and the smart scoring, they work really, really well. And I'm going to cover that in detail in this video and in the following videos. So from a high level, it does a lot of things, but obviously for the sake of saving time, I'm not going to go through each and every feature. I'll focus on some of the top features and how we can use them. So how does the pricing work? So Plezi basically has got two pricing tiers at the time of recording this video. So the one which I'm going to be using will be the Iron package, which allows smart campaign because you don't get smart campaign in the stock one. And the other important feature is the drip marketing feature, which is in Iron, and you also get 4,000 contacts. But bear in mind there's an onboarding cost when you sign up to Plezi, and for additional 1,000 contacts you have to pay around £29. The pricing could vary from dollar to pound. I'm looking at the pound version here, but I'll be looking at the Iron package. There are lots of CRM integrations like Salesforce and HubSpot, although I would love to see ActiveCampaign at some point, but obviously you have Zapier and you can connect through Zapier tons and tons of CRMs, and it covers basically everything. But from get-go, there's a deep integration with Salesforce and HubSpot, which is really good. So now you understand what Plezi does, let's set it up. Let me show you what we are trying to achieve. So we would like our organic traffic go to our best blog post, and that is one of the best blog posts, let's say we pick, looking at our Search Console data or our Google Analytics data, and we put like a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a sort of like a form through which we can capture name and email and exchange for some kind of a freebie. In our case, we will be providing a checklist, a PDF checklist, which visitors can download. If they do fill out this form, they will then become a lead. And inside Plezi, we will define 3 stages. And these 3 stages correspond to top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. But in Plezi, they are known as awareness stage, evaluation stage, and decision stage. So we'll be using those 3 stages. So the idea is, in the first stage, which is top of the funnel or the awareness stage, we will give leads in a score. So let's say they fill out the form, they get a score of 10. And in order to proceed further, they have to open emails, they have to engage with the content through emails or through the stuff which we will send them. And based on the score, let's say if they hit the score of 19, And once they hit 19, they become, let's say, 20. At 20, we then move them to the next stage, which is the evaluation stage, the middle of the funnel. And in the middle of the funnel, the content will be slightly different. Now we will talk about, giving them more information about a particular topic, or giving some advanced topics about case studies and things. If you would like to know more about how these stages are broken down further, I've done a video which explains everything in detail with different content types which you can use at every stage. There's a lot more covered in that video, but in this video, we'll obviously focus on how we can build this in Plezi. So the idea is simple. Once they hit the score of 40 again, they are moved to the decision stage. And at that stage, you can configure Plezi that lead information is now sent over to your CRM, because you have to remember, like, Plezi is a marketing automation tool and it doesn't actually provide CRM flexibility. You have to still use CRM tools like HubSpot or Salesforce. In our case, we use ActiveCampaign, so we'll be passing the lead over to ActiveCampaign, and we'll do that in a separate video in the future. But in this video, we'll focus primarily on the top of the funnel and how we can configure these 3 stages. The first thing you need to do is set up Plezi's configuration. So under settings, head over to Plezi configuration and click lifecycle. This is where you can set up those different thresholds for each of the different stages. So for example, in our case, we would like to keep the lead in the awareness stage when the score is between 0 to 20. Once they hit 20, they go into the evaluation stage. And finally, if they hit the score of 40, they're in the decision stage. And here, once they hit the score of 40, you can configure your CRM so that the leads then are passed over to your CRM. In our case, we're going to keep it simple, and we will have it send it over to me as an email so that I can, set a different flow so that we can reach out to marketing qualified leads separately. But this is the first thing you need to do, is define these threshold points, and it's very easy to do in this one place. The first thing you need to do is create a contact list. In Plezi, there's 2 types of contact lists: a static list, which you can import from an existing CRM, or have a dynamic list. In a dynamic list, contacts will be added based on the actions they will take within your Plezi ecosystem. In a dynamic list, contacts will be added based on certain conditions. And that is exactly what I've done. I've created a landing page leads list. And if I show you, there's a very simple setting where I have defined if the contacts property, which is one of the interests, is landing pages, then they should be part of this contact list. And this interest is actually set by the form with which the contacts or the visitors first interact. So the moment they fill out the form, they get the interest tag landing pages, and anybody who's then filled out that form are part of this contact list. So once you have a contact list, you can then use a smart campaign. Let's talk about smart campaigns. Smart campaigns is at the heart of Plezi's ecosystem. Smart campaigns drive all the leads from the awareness stage and through the evaluation stage, and finally at the decision stage. So smart campaigns are defined once in your Plezi system, and because I've already defined one, I can't delete it and start again. What I'll do is I'll show you how it's set up. So first of all, you can click automation, and in here click new scenario. So you should be able to see there's a smart campaigns button which will allow you to create a new one. Once you click create new, you should have a screen which is similar to this, where you can define exactly each stage of the funnel. So remember in the last video, we defined how we can set the different thresholds. So for awareness, we have the score of 20, and evaluation, we have a score of 40. So anything beyond 40 is then considered a decision stage or a purchase stage. So you can't edit those settings here. You have to go back to Plezi's configuration to change that. What you can do here is define exactly when an email should be sent out. So for example, if a contact is in the buying phase or in this stage of awareness, they have to be in or around 90 days. You can change the setting here, but I prefer 90 days, so I've left it there. And here I am sending out 1 email a week. You can choose whether you want to send 1 email a day, a month. You can change that setting, and it's completely configurable. Then you can define the date and time when you want to send it. And finally, the score, as we said, you can't change it here, but at least you can view it here. And the same thing will be for evaluation. You can define exactly when the emails for evaluation will be sent out. And finally, purchase or decision. This is where you set those different settings. And finally, at the top, you will see there's a little setting here which says number of unopened email to remove a contact from the smart campaign. So if a person hasn't opened 10 emails, then they will be removed out from the smart campaign altogether. So you can change that setting. I've left it to default 10. So this is overall where you define the heart of Plezi, and once you set it up, it will automatically send out emails based on this configuration. In Plezi, go to Settings and then click on Web Form Templates. Click this plus icon and name your form. Click Create Web Form. So once you're here, you can select the fields you want to capture. We want to first capture first name, last name, and email. And we would also like to capture job title and industry. Plezi has this amazing feature through which you can configure progressive fields, and in Plezi they're called queued fields, which basically means when a visitor first fills out the form, they will see first name, last name, and email. But the second time, if they visit the form again, they will see email and job title and industry. So that way you can enrich the lead and get more information from them without them having to enter all their details again. But the email field is always mandatory because that is the field used for the lookup. So you can define the main core template in here and basically define some of the colors based on your brand and the look and feel. Once you are happy with it, click Save, and that will publish your form template. As you defined our web form template, we need to add a content item. This content item will tie everything together, and we will be able to then share it and generate leads. Let's see how to do that. So head over to Contents and click Add New Content. Select the content type. So in our case, we will be offering an ebook. So we'll click ebook and give it a name. Here you can add more information about your offer. So for example, you can add the title, teaser, upload the file, and define your tags. There's two types of tagging system inside Plezi. One is exclusive tags and the other one is preferential tags. The exclusive tag is almost like a mandatory tag. So for example, if a contact has an exclusive tag of buying stage, let's say awareness, then they will receive this item. If they don't, then obviously it's like an and situation. So they won't get it unless they have that setting on. Preferential tags, on the other hand, are optional tags. These define specificity. So if there is a contact with the job title IT management, they will receive this content type first before any other job titles, because here we're telling Plezi to give precedence to people who are in the job title or are in the IT management job title. So that's where you could define preferential tags. You can also define preferential tags for industry. So if you have a lot of content, you can break it down by different industries or job titles or interests, and all of that can be used to mix and match content, but Plezi will take care of the rest. You don't have to define exactly who should receive what. All you have to do is make sure that the content aligns with the job titles and the industries, and Plezi will do the magic itself. So finally, you can define the scoring system. So this scoring system will be in line with your entire life cycle stages. So for example, in this case, we are setting the form submission as a 10-point increment. So if somebody fills out the form to download this PDF, they will get 10 points. So you can easily add or update this number based on the kind of levels of scoring you've set or based on the life cycle stages. As we have created our content type, we need to now associate a web form with the content type. Head over to Contents and click your content type. So in our case, it's this 5-point landing page checklist. In here, click Publication and click Create New Web Form. I'm going to name it Lead Magnet Form. And for the template, we will select the Lead Magnet Form template, which we created earlier. So let's select that and click Create. Here you can define some formatting for your form. So you can click over the design section and change the background color of your button, for example, or you can also define the thank you step. In our case, since we're offering a PDF when somebody fills out the form, so we've selected here, redirect the visitor to a URL, and we've also put the PDF file in here. And for notifications, we will receive email on my email address and my colleague's email address. So that way, anytime somebody submits this form, we get an email from Plezi that a new visitor has signed up and they are now a lead. So if you have any other things which you would like to change in the form, for example, define some of the other colors or make any fields mandatory or anything at all, you have to make them in the web form template first, and they'll be reflected here. In the consent tab, you can also define some GDPR privacy policies or terms and conditions. And finally, head over to the share tab and copy this text or copy this script block and paste it in your blog post. In our case, we will be using this form in one of our blog posts. So I've copied the script and pasted it in this blog post, and this is how I see the form. I can see the first name, last name, email fields. So let's test it out. I'm going to enter my name, my last name, and my email address. And when I click the download button, notice what happens. Great, it redirects me to the PDF and I can easily download this PDF. So that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted the visitor to come in here, download the PDF, and once we get that lead in, we will assign them to the awareness stage with a score of 10. Since we're using progressive or queued forms, notice what happens when I visit the form or the website again. So in this case, let me scroll down, and here, rather than seeing first name, last name, and email, I can now see job title, industry, and email. So in case, if, for example, if this form is used across other lead magnets or other offers, we can capture more information from the visitor in order for them to download this resource. So again, this is really powerful and extremely useful. As you can see from this example, you can enrich your data without actually changing any logic in the forms or in any of the code. And here, if I click over contacts, and I can see there's a new lead which has come through, which is basically me filling out the form, and I can see I've been assigned a score of 10, which is exactly what we wanted. And I can see the history of this contact, which is basically me. And here I can also see that my interest has been set as landing pages, because that was the interest we set on the form, and that's how it's reflected here. So all the information is now here, and over time, when I visit the website again or fill out more information on the website, Plezi will keep track of all the visits and all the interactions and keep a history here, so that we can see exactly how this lead has progressed over time. And eventually, when I go through and build my nurture sequences, which we've defined in Funnelytics, we can create more content for each of the stages. But we'll cover that in the future videos. But at this stage, we are at top of the funnel and we've defined our awareness stage. So far we have covered that the lead has been offered a PDF and we've assigned them a score of 10. So the next thing we need to look at is to send emails, which will increase a contact's or a lead score over time. Let's see how to do that. Let's look at our awareness funnel in depth. So here I've put together 3 emails to begin with, and in the first 2 emails we will link our content to a blog post. In the third one we will link our content to a blog post, but the blog post also has a form embedded, and if the visitor fills out the form, they get a score of 10. So ideally in this funnel, they can get a score of 1 + 1 + 1 + 10. So they can get a score of 13, which could take them beyond 20, which would mean they will be in the evaluation stage or the consideration stage. So based on this funnel, we have 3 emails, but you can obviously add more emails along the way, and over time you can have a collection of emails for your awareness funnel. So let's see how you can build this in Plezi. Head over to Plezi and click Contents. Here, click Add a New Content, and then select a blog. Give it a name. So for our blog post, which is called The Beginner's Guide to High Converting Landing Pages, I'm going to use that name and click Continue. Here you can define some more information for the blog post. So for example, add your teaser, add the URL of the actual blog post. So this is where you can define which stage you want the visitors to be in order for them to look at this content. So here, by assigning the awareness tag and the English language, you can ensure that only visitors who are in the awareness stage will get or see this content. You can also set the score. So in our case, we are giving visitors a score of 1 every time they visit the page. So I'm going to set 1 here. Head over to automation and enable this setting. This setting will allow us to assign an email to this particular content type. Let's take a look at our funnel to understand this concept a bit more. So what we have done so far is created a content type, which is a blog post. Now we want to create an email and associate that email to this blog post. Once you click new email, you should see this view. Here you can use an existing template from your previous templates, or you can use Plezi's own defined templates. I've got a template which I've already used, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to click next. And here you can easily do that. You can create the email using this email editor and add all the information in here. And finally, for the button, you can link it to the actual blog post. So when the email is sent out, the visitors can then click the button and view the blog post. At that point, they will then get a score of 1. So this email editor is pretty straightforward. You can easily add content here. You can change some of the padding, some of the formatting using this editor. It's pretty intuitive, and you can also add images. And once you're happy with the content, you can test out the email and send a preview to yourself or to some other contact and make sure that everything looks good. Once you're happy with this, click save, and then that's all we need to do here. And the email is now associated with this content type. And anytime somebody or anytime a lead comes in the awareness stage, they will be receiving this email. You can create many blog post content types and create emails and link them together. So based on the smart campaign configuration, those emails will be then sent out. But what if you want to use a different content type? So a content type which has like an offer, for example, where people can download more information. And with that, once they download, they get a different score, which pushes them further down the funnel. And also you can capture more details using queued fields or progressive fields. Let's see how we can do that. Head over to Plezi and click Contents. Click Add a New Content. Here we're going to choose an offer type and give it a name. Just like last time, we have to add some more information. For example, define the exclusive tags and the preferential tags. I hope now you're clear with how these tags work, but the only different thing which we're going to do here is to add a score of 10 for the form submission, because we will link up a form with this content type, and if somebody fills out this form, they will get a score of 10. Once you define everything, click Create this new content. Head over to Publication and then click Create New Web Form. Choose a name and use the same form template which we already built. So this will allow us to use queued form fields, which is going to really help us to get more data from our leads. So once you select that form, click Create. Again, in this editor, you can define the exact look and feel. I'm going to just change the name of the Submit Text button here. And all you have to do is make sure that the redirect link points to the resource which you're trying to offer to the visitors. Once you're happy with all the settings, click Share and copy the script block and paste it in the blog post where you want visitors to interact with this piece of content. Click Save and click Back. So until now, we have associated a web form to our content type, which is an offer, which is almost like a PDF which we're trying to give out to visitors. Now we need to create an email so that that email is part of the smart campaign. Click Automation and click this setting, attach an email to this content to add it to your smart campaign. And then just like last time, click New Email and let's build that email. So in this editor, you can add the copy of the email body and also change some of the links. So for example, I want this call to action to go to a particular link, which I can change here. And also I can change some of the settings, for example, define the sender name and the sender email and the reply to email. Once you're happy with all the changes and all the settings, click Save and then click this back arrow. There you have it. We have created a new content type, which is an offer, and we have linked up a web form to this offer. and we've also created an email which will be part of the smart campaigns for the awareness stage, so that visitors will see this email, they click through to the blog post, and they can then interact with the web form. Let's now head over to a blog post and see how the form looks there. So here's the blog post which I've used, and if I scroll towards the middle of the blog post, I can see the new form which is showing up here. Because I've already filled out the form previously, Plezi can understand who I am, so the email field already is pre-populated. And now Plezi is asking me for job title and industry, because these are the fields which I didn't fill out previously. So Plezi is pulling those fields from the queued fields, and it will allow us as a brand to capture more fields. So I hope you see the potential of how you can build more forms and offer amazing value to your customers. I hope you can see the value what Plezi brings to the marketing automation ecosystem. If you liked watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.